Hi guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. This is Hassan, or Jason, also known as Tabiasobi, and today I will be taking a look at the Spring 2016 anime season. Why? Because I can. And why am I talking like Captain Kirk? I have no idea. So, Spring 2016 anime. Basically, before the start of each season, I always check out a list of upcoming shows just to see which ones might be worth looking into. And so when I make my decision, I usually base it on either the genre, the story, or even the people involved. And so I will be going through 10 shows that I think might be worth checking out. And when I say might be, it's like sometimes you look at shows, they look good on paper, but you never know until you really watch them. And sometimes until halfway through the season, if the show is really good. And so, yeah, I'll be looking at 10 new anime, so I won't be including either, continuing anime from the previous season or even returning anime from several seasons before. So, let's go! Hende Dende iPad. So, up first we have Kotetsu no Kabaneri, or Kabaneri of the Iron Fortress. And so, the main reason I'm actually interested in looking at this particular show is because it lists Ichiro Okuuchi as the writer. And for you sharp-eyed anime fans out there, that would be the same Okuuchi who's credited as a co-creator of the Code Geass Hangyaku no Lelouch anime. And he's also had scripting duties, I think, with shows such as Valve. So just between those two shows, I think I have a pretty good idea what kind of story the show is going to be. So probably going to be a lot of heartbreaking moments. Lots of Okuuchi touches in there, let's just say. Yeah, so the show pretty much centers around a monster that can't be killed unless you pierce its iron-covered heart. And then this monster also apparently has the ability to bite humans and turn them into the undead as well. So what you have looks pretty much like a combination of it's set in the it looks like it's set in an industrial period of sorts. And so it's a combination of it's like Sakura Taisen combined with Resident Evil, but turned up to 11. And so, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it pans out. It's got, obviously, a pretty well-known person on board as well. So, yeah, that's number one. Or, well, first on the list. I'm not ranking these in any order. And so, number 2, we have Boku no Hero Academia, or My Hero Academia. And the reason I found myself interested in this particular one was I looked at the visual style of it, and it kind of reminds me of those hot-blooded hero-type shows that I grew up watching when I was a kid. And so, kind of just gives you an idea how old I probably am. When's the last time they had shows like that on? But, yeah. And so, the story centers around, a society where kids are born, well, some kids are born with superpowers. And so, the protagonist is a child who dreams of being a superhero, but it looks like he does not have the requisite superpowers. And so, it's a source of great frustration for the protagonist. What's his name? What's his name? Midoriya Izuku. Midoriya Izuku. So, yeah, it's a source of much consternation for him until, I guess, he has a fateful meeting with his idol hero, who also happens to be, I guess, the most popular hero in the world, and one thing leads to another, and he gets accepted into this academy. So, yeah. It looks promising as far as, well, I don't know. It's obviously One Punch Man is going to be a tough act to follow for any show dabbling in the hero genre, but who knows? Might be good. So, on to the next one. We got Flying Witch. That one needs no translation. Flying Witch. So, I'm a big fan of slice of life anime. I know some people don't quite like them, but I do. nice change of pace. And so this definitely, just based on the preview, looks really slice of life as a show. So it centers around like a main character named Makoto Kawata. So she's a girl, and she moves into this new town and starts living, I guess, with a relative or relatives. But like personality-wise, I guess she's a in Japan what they call a tenin, or like airheaded. Apparently has a bad sense of direction. So sounds a bit tropish, I guess, but well, I mean, what you gonna do? So, but besides that, she's also a witch. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Just how the story shapes up. I don't know if this is a world where witches are common, or if she's like a rare type of character. But yeah, so Flying Witch. If you like slice of life anime, then this one is probably one of the things you want to check out. And up next on the list is Bungo Stray Dogs. Yeah, so this one can be best described as a supernatural anime show. And based on the previews I've seen, the early information, the main character is, what's his name? Nakajima Atsushi. And so apparently he gets kicked out of an orphanage and then finds himself by this riverbank and runs into like this eccentric character, Dazai Osamu. And Dazai apparently tries to commit suicide or whatever, like in comic fashion, which usually doesn't go, together with the topic of suicide. But yeah, and well, that's anime for you. And so one thing leads to another, and eventually the protagonist sort of gets roped in with this guy who has a partner, Kunikida, and they are apparently members of a special detective agency that tackle cases that the normal authorities usually can't handle. And so, yeah, that's the deal. And if you like supernatural mystery detective shows, then this one is probably worth checking out. And next we have Joker Game. So this one, like, kind of looks. Well, did somebody say it? Well, it looks like Japanese, like a Japanese version. Well, like Japanese noir is like the closest thing that I could think of as far as describing it. And so it centers around spy games. Yeah, so basically the characters are part of a training agency, I believe, for spies. Let's check. Yeah, it's called the D Agency. And then the D Agency. I could just see a bunch of 12-year-olds making fun of that. So, yeah, and it's set in 1937. So it's just right around the beginning of World War II, I guess. And so the show has a certain style to it. And it's a style that you normally don't see all the time. And like I said, it has like some noir elements to it as well. And so, of course, it's a spy show, so there's going to be intrigue and all sorts of shenanigans going on. And yeah, so if that's your type of deal, that's another show for you to check out. And the next one, this is going to be a mouthful. It's called ReZero Kara Zero Kara Hajimaru Isekai Seikatsu, or Life in a Different World from Zero. So, the show basically is about a boy who finds himself, I guess, transported to a fantasy world on his way back home from the convenience store. That kind of sounds familiar. Yeah. In fact, I think there was a show last season that kind of started the same way. The biggest difference between this and Kono Subarashi Sekai ni Shukufuku wo wow, I actually remembered it. Is that while that show from last season was a straight out comedy that was like super hilarious, I recommend that you watch it. This one looks like it's gonna have some more drama to it, because basically it starts out so the protagonist finds himself in this world. He gets helped out by this mysterious silver-haired girl, and then next thing you know, they both get killed, and then he wakes up right at the same point when he was first transported to that world, and back in time as well. So the premise apparently is that he can go back to at that one point in time every time he dies, except he's the only one who remembers all the events that transpired leading up to that, and everybody else has no memory of it. So yeah, that sounds kind of intriguing, you know? So, I mean, of course, you've had shows like SAO, and then Konosuba, and to an extent, I guess, Danmachi. I mean, it doesn't, like the setting is the same, although the stories might be a bit different, yeah. But, yeah, so the concept is interesting. I'm curious to see how the story develops. And so, yeah, that's one of the shows I'm going to be checking out for sure. And up next, we've got Kisniver. And like the first time I saw Kisniver and like the previews, like there was something kind of different about the way it looked. And then I did some further digging into it, and then I realized that the show is actually by Studio Trigger. So that's like a plus right there. Like that would be the same show that did Kill la Kill, which I really liked. And on top of that, like the main scripting and series composition duties are being done by Mari Okada. So the same person who did work on Toradora, Black Rock Shooter, and of course just recently Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans. And so with because of the combination of those, of the studio and then the writer or scripter, this got my attention. So yeah, and it's about, well, the main protagonist, what's his name? Did I write his name down? Agata Katsuhira. Basically, like, has this ability to connect with classmates and share, like, is it wounds and injuries? Yeah, via something called the Kizuna system. And so, that's all I really know about this show. But yeah, I'm gonna check it out just because of the studio and the main scripting and scenario person involved. So yeah, there you go. And we're almost done. Just 3 more. Next in the list is Sosei no Onmyoji, or Twinstar Exorcist. No relation to Sanrio's little twin stars, which they have actually a pretty neat display at Sanrio Puroland in Tokyo, if you ever go. I went there, but I went there to take my niece. So I'm not one of those guys who go there because I'm a Sanrio fan. Although, no lie, while we were lining up for pictures with Hello Kitty, there was this one dude who was like older than me in the line with all these little girls, and it looked like he was just about to cry when he got in front of the line and started talking and shaking hands with Hello Kitty. And I'm sure the person inside the Hello Kitty costume was probably terrified, but yeah. So that's my non-review of Sanrio Puroland. Why am I even talking about that? Yeah, Twinstar Exorcist. So, the show has like 2 protagonists. One of them, of course, is called Rokuro. Rokuro, yeah. And I'm putting this in the list because it's in the shonen category. So if you are looking for a shonen type show with a mixture of onmyoji, or like Japanese style exorcism, exorcist action, then this might be worth taking a look. The main protagonist, Rokuro, comes from a long line of exorcists, and apparently has lots of talent, but it's one of those characters who, like, I'd rather be doing something else, like play soccer, than take up the family tradition. So we've seen that before in anime. And so, but then, like the other protagonist arrives on the scene. Is it Benio? Is that her name? Yeah, Benio. And this sort of triggers some competition between the two, and it ignites Rokuro's like latent onmyoji passions, I guess. And so one thing leads to another, and they end up being called the Twinstar Exorcists. I just said that. So, and apparently, when you get that title, you're supposed to be destined to marry each other, so you can come up with the ultimate warrior. Hulk Hogan. Wait, wrong Ultimate Warrior. Just the Ultimate Exorcist, I guess. Yeah, so that's the premise of the show. I'm gonna go move along before I further ruin everything else. And then we got Mayoiga. So yeah, this is another mystery anime. And it pretty much is about like 30 people who board this bus to the secluded town of Mayoiga, right? Is that what I say? Oh, Nanakimura. Nanakimura. And so the deal with this town is apparently if you go there, it promises to give you a utopian life. And so, yeah, and all of the 30 characters apparently had certain issues going on, and by going to this town, they pretty much hope to rectify it. Of course, the question is just how true that urban legend about the town is. Yeah, so I thought, that sounds like an interesting premise. Not so much information about it out there. Even the previews were kind of cryptic, but yeah, adding this to the list just in case it pans out. And so, last but not least, we have, this is one of those long ones. ネットゲイの嫁は女の子じゃないと思った。And the translation is, ネットゲイの嫁は女の子じゃないと思った。That would be like, and you thought girls don't exist online. Definitely sounds like a meme come to life as a show. And so the story centers around, what's his name? I did not write the guy's name down. Some guy. Centers around some guy who likes to play online games, who ends up being traumatized. And I'm back. So me being me, my camera ran out of battery because I'm such a genius. So where were we? Yes, ネットゲイの嫁は女の子じゃないと思った. Or, and you thought girls don't exist online. So, this show centers around a guy who plays online games and ended up being traumatized after proposing to a female character at one time, and it turns out that female character was being played by a guy. It is actually funny to me because as someone who typically creates female characters for online games, I can't even count how many times I've been hit on online by guys who think I'm a girl, whether it be Fantasy Star Universe, and several times on that one, and even Monster Hunter Tri on the Wii. Like, I've been on the other end of that, and so it's always awkward. Like, at one point I just got kind of used to it and just like laughed about it. But yeah, so he thinks he's traumatized. What about like the guys who get proposed to online with like some flirty, sexy words? And not that there's anything wrong with that. So, yeah, and following that traumatizing experience, he ends up developing a distrust for pretty much like female characters or players online. And naturally, with that kind of a premise, he things turn out where it looks like a female player ends up expressing interest in him, and so everything goes from there. And this show, I'm including it because it's a straight up comedy. And also, I believe, like, what did my description say here? Yeah, and yeah, it's a straight up comedy, but I believe it also has like some ecchi elements to it. And now, personally, I'm not like a huge like fan of like really hardcore straight up ecchi because I'm a schoolworm, I guess. But like, you know, like a little bit is fine for me, and sometimes, you know, obviously it makes it funny, but obviously there are some people out there who really like that genre as well, so that's why I'm including it. And so if you like comedy and that type of show, there you go. ネットゲイの読みは女の子じゃないと思った. Yeah, so that is like my list of 10. That was 10, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, 10. I can count. That was 10. Yeah. So those are my list of 10 anime shows to potentially check out for the spring 2016 anime season. As always, if you have any thoughts you want to share, just make sure to leave a comment in the comment section. And once again, this is Jason, also known as Tabiasobi, signing out.